It happened during an ordinary Friday night dinner at my in-laws' house, one of those gatherings where you smile through conversations you don't really want to have. My wife, Claire, had always been close to her family. They were the kind who liked to joke, sometimes crossing the line between humor and humiliation. I'd learned to take it in stride over the years, laughing along even when I was the target. But that night, Claire decided to push further than ever before. Dinner had been going well enough, roast chicken, laughter, and a few too many glasses of wine around the table. Her father was telling old stories from our wedding day, and her mother kept interrupting to add details. Then, out of nowhere, Claire looked at me, smirking. "You know," she said loudly, "David tries so hard to seem confident, but it's adorable how much he relies on me for everything. Even when his paycheck comes in, he has to ask me how to manage it." The table erupted in laughter. My ears burned as her brother added, "So you're the brains, huh, Claire?" She nodded proudly. "Oh, absolutely. He's smart in his own way, but he'd probably still be living in a shoebox apartment eating cereal for dinner if it weren't for me." I forced a smile, pretending it didn't sting. But her words cut deep, not because they were untrue, but because they dismissed everything I'd worked for. I'd grown up struggling, working 2 jobs through college just to make ends meet. I had built my small software company from scratch. Sure, Claire helped with ideas and support, but we were partners, not leader and follower. Her mother chuckled. Well, at least he found someone to keep him in line. The laughter continued, light-hearted to everyone else, except me. I caught Claire's eye, and for a moment, I saw something flicker there. Pride, maybe. Or worse, superiority. So I leaned back in my chair, smiled faintly, and said, "You're right, honey. I do rely on you." The laughter started to fade as they sensed a shift in my tone. "Actually, it's kind of funny. I was planning to surprise you with something tonight, but since we're being honest in front of everyone." Claire's smile faltered slightly. "David," she said softly, "what are you?" I stood, pulling a small envelope from my jacket pocket. "You've always said I couldn't handle finances without your guidance," I said, placing the envelope on the table in front of her. "So here's something to celebrate your management skills." She blinked, confused, then opened it. Inside was a single document, a deed transfer. Her eyes widened as she read. "This is our house?" she asked. "Correction," I said calmly. "It's your house. Paid off completely, in your name. I finalized it last week." The room went utterly silent. "You kept joking that I couldn't handle money, so I figured I'd show you that I can, and that I wanted to do something that makes you feel secure." Her father cleared his throat awkwardly. "That's generous of you, son." I nodded. It was. But then again, I thought marriage was about building something together, not tearing each other down for a laugh. Claire's face turned pale. The confidence drained from her eyes. "David, I didn't mean it like that," she whispered. "I know," I said softly. "But that's the problem. You never mean it, until it hurts." No one spoke for a moment. Then, quietly, I excused myself from the table, thanked her parents for dinner, and left. That night, I stayed at a hotel. My phone buzzed with messages from Claire, apologies, explanations, promises that she didn't mean to embarrass me. I didn't respond. I needed space to think. The next morning, I received an email from one of my investors. Our latest app launch had just hit record numbers, enough to make my company the most successful it had ever been. I smiled to myself. For years, I downplayed my success because I didn't want to make Claire feel overshadowed. I thought keeping quiet was humility. Now I realized it had been self-erasure. Later that day, Claire showed up at my office, eyes red from crying. She handed me back the deed. "I don't want it if it means I lose you," she said, voice trembling. "You were right. I took you for granted." I studied her for a long moment, then finally said, "I didn't do it to leave you. I did it to show you I'm not your project. I'm your partner, or at least I used to be." She broke down, and for the first time in a long while, I saw genuine remorse. I didn't give her an answer that day. But as I watched her walk away, I knew one thing for sure: I'd never let someone's joke define my worth again. In the weeks that followed, Claire and I started couples therapy. Whether we'd make it, I didn't know. But the next time we were at her parents' table, and her brother made a snide comment, she looked him dead in the eye and said, "Don't talk about my husband like that." I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. Sometimes, the best revenge isn't anger. It's quiet dignity that makes others realize what they've lost.